Good afternoon. How are you? Well, this has been a good day. We got a bunch of things done, and that's always nice on behalf of my cases. When people ask me what I do, I say I represent the abused and misunderstood. At some time, we all feel that way, right? So, in terms of abuse and misunderstood, Trump is busy not misunderstanding, but attacking and abusing us. And every day we have a number of these acknowledged cheats by Trump, the magnificent liar. And today is no exception to that. Now I have to reach back a little bit into the weekend, and this is on the tariffs. Trump attacked Walmart for blaming anticipated price hikes on Trump's tariffs. But that is exactly what happened. That the tariffs are going to increase price hikes. Trump threatened Walmart saying, "I'm going to be watching you guys." So Herr Trump, as I admiringly recognize as one of the greatest public known cheats in the history of humankind, he doesn't accept the fact that there is a small retail margin, meaning profits, for a company like Walmart. And America, when they are importing materials, they are paying the tariff. So that means Walmart, directly or indirectly, is paying for the increased cost of something from somewhere else because of tariffs that are either 10% or more. I think it goes up to 60% depending upon what's involved. So American businesses are paying that tariff. They pass that cost to consumers, and so it's Trump's tariff tax. And that's the truth. Whether it's Walmart or any other company that you might think of, they are all going to have to gauge how much they increase prices in order to have the product to sell to us without losing the sale entirely, because people at some point will do without. Those of us who had to study economics remember these charts, crossover points where things could happen or not happen. So you can price yourself out of the market, as some of these tariffs may very well do. Maybe not a 10% tariff, but a 60% tariff, that gets difficult. That ends that product. And there isn't going to be a factory built in 3 months that could take advantage of this, quote, opportunity to sell for cheaper than what the tariff makes the price of the goods, okay? So instead of doing anything, Trump lies. He pretends other countries, they're shouldering the cost, but it's not true. He pretends that prices aren't increasing because of the tariffs, because of the purchases made by us of a good that is subject to a tariff of 10 or 60%. So that's one of the whoppers, and it's a big one because it tells us how people are going to suffer in the marketplace, despite the campaign promises of things will be cheaper, and once I get there and it's all Biden. Well, no, it's not. This is all Trump's tariffs, this segment of it. Now, let's go into another area in terms of ethics. I know there really isn't any in the Trump administration, but we should understand what he does wrong, and we don't always do that. Remember the gift plane. Oops, it's not a gift. Not a gift. Trump approached Qatar through his representative, Witless Witkoff, and he was told to find a plane to replace Air Force One. Now, the Pentagon offered to buy a plane from Qatar. And Qatar said it would sell the plane. But in the process, it became a, quote, gift, and it was all Qatar's idea. And Trump now says we should just accept it. What kind of a leader is that, anyhow? It's an open criminal conspiracy with the tainted and compromised individuals that he chose, perhaps for their incompetence and pliability for anything he wants. Let's try another one. Let's talk about taxes and immigration for a moment. Trump pushes the House, and he went up to the Hill, and some were not impressed that he went from one end of the Pennsylvania Avenue to the other to come up and shout and scream at him. But he shouted to them they should get it done, and he made threats galore. He wants more cuts to Medicaid, and he wants more tax cuts as well. A tax cut is thought of as an expenditure because it's giving up funds needed to balance the budget. And we're not balancing the budget. That's why we have a deficit. Okay. So it's not more complicated than that. It's basically addition and subtraction. So there are like 5 identifiable divisions in the Republican caucus in the House of those people who don't think it's such a hot idea, all the elements of this package. And it's going to hurt directly Trump's own people. And see, he doesn't care about his people. He doesn't care if these people are going to have trouble in elections. He just wants it done. And he's figuring that cohort of crime players will get him through. And that's all he cares about. That's all he cares about. Now, we have another decision by the court, the district court. And it says Trump can't dismantle the Peace Institute, which he has sought to do. And the reason he can't is because it's it's not part of the executive branch. Ha! Take that. So that's the end of that question. Appeals may be brought. I don't know how. The appeals brought are frivolous. More judges should be saying, "Counselor, you're going too far." Sort of like what you did, if they were one of the ones who did, back in 2020, when you guys were lying to courts about the fraud that didn't exist in the election. But that's not happening. So many lost opportunities to strike back. And how can these people who've lived in politics their whole professional life probably, and who have been leaders in our government, not strike back, have the instinct to do it? And what I think it teaches you is that perhaps government makes you too comfortable to shout out. You take your salary, you take your retirement, you take your insurance, and you keep on going. You don't look back. And I think that's true for some. Luckily, we have some with courage, with profile, with character, who try to do more. Now, the next one is kind of in my head, is a fun one. I've talked to you from time to time, there ought to be a law. Well, apparently Melania Trump thought there ought to be a law too. And she thought the law should be to make it a crime to post sexual images and videos of a person online. Do you know any first lady who's ever been naked online in a video? I can think of one. The proponent of this bill that her husband is pushing through applies to her. There's just no end to the perfidy that is true to these people. None. The notion that these people deserve to even run a candy store, you can be sure that candy would be bad or something like that. Now, another one is the judgment by the Department of Justice to reach a settlement with Ashley Babbitt, died from the wound when she was invading the House of Representatives on the border to get into the Speaker's chamber, and it was being protected by Capitol Hill officers. And finally, to have her back off, an officer shot a gun. He was cleared in the sense of they decided he exercised good judgment under the circumstances. There were several investigations, all came out the same way. Yeah, the Department of Injustice, the Justice Department, has decided to give this family an award for being a foul criminal. Sort of like the pardons that Trump gave to those people who invaded our Capitol. How far do you have to go in the events of Trump's life to know that we have a foul and evil president? How many people can pretend that this guy is a president? Now, you have to wonder is if she's defacing, the Department of Justice is defacing justice, can we, I don't know, throw eggs at the Justice Department, the toilet paper, laser pictures cast on the building? So these are a few of my unfavorite things that are happening and continue to happen. And they are visible to the public. But when the public becomes numb and stops being we the people as intended in the Constitution, we have failed our promise those many years ago when we had a Declaration of Independence and a Constitution that meant something, and that we work to perfect this order. So that's a couple of thoughts I have today for my Cathedral of Trees. And until tomorrow, be well. Take care. Bye-bye.